Something is unfolding in your life right now. You might not fully notice it yet, but I can sense it clearly. If you've landed on this video at this very instant, it's not random. It's because you're standing at the edge of something extraordinary, and not in some vague, mystical way, but in a very real, very concrete shift that's about to redefine how you see your own potential. Think about that moment when you're driving late at night and you spot the faint glow of a city on the horizon before you can make out any buildings. That's where you are right now. You see the glow. You feel the pull. You sense that something huge is approaching, even though you can't yet identify its shape. Let me tell you what I know about you, even without meeting you. Lately, you've been restless. Not exactly anxious, but as if you've started outgrowing something. The life you've been living, the routines you've been following, the identity you've been comfortable with, they've all started feeling too small, almost like a pair of shoes that no longer fit. Sound familiar? It probably began subtly. Maybe a few months back, you found yourself staring out of windows for longer than usual, or right in the middle of your everyday tasks, you caught yourself thinking, is this really all there is? Not from a place of despair, but from a place of curiosity, like your soul gently tapping your shoulder, whispering, hey, remember that dream we had? That vision of who you wanted to be? Or maybe you've noticed strange synchronicities everywhere, the same numbers repeating, conversations echoing the same themes you've been wrestling with, unexpected encounters that somehow feel fated. Your rational mind keeps insisting it's all coincidence, but something deeper inside of you knows better. And here's the part that probably feels maddening. You can't shake the sense that you're meant to be doing something different. Not necessarily bigger, not necessarily grander, just more aligned, more authentic, more you. Yet, every time you try to define it, it slips through your fingers like smoke. At times, you get flashes of pure clarity. When you're walking, or showering, or drifting to sleep, you suddenly know. You feel certain about the next step, but the moment you try to seize it, it vanishes. That's because you're not supposed to chase it. You're meant to let it come to you. And that's exactly what's happening right now, whether you're fully aware of it or not. See, human development is far more layered than the simple stages we were taught. Childhood, adolescence, adulthood. Beyond those lie deeper levels of awakening, where you don't just grow older, you grow more conscious. Most people encounter these transition points and panic. They think they're broken. They try to retreat to who they were, or force themselves into who they think they should become. But these transformations can't be rushed, and they certainly can't be reversed. It's like a snake shedding its skin. It doesn't choose to stay small and comfortable. The old skin gets too tight, too restrictive, until it has no choice but to let go of it completely. That's exactly what's happening to you. You're shedding. The version of you that carried you this far now feels restrictive, because you're literally expanding beyond it from the inside out. And this isn't happening because you messed up. It's happening because you've been doing something right. You've been growing, expanding your awareness, stretching your capacity, and the container of your old self just isn't big enough anymore. Here's the wild part. This new stage has been quietly preparing itself behind the curtain of your life for months, maybe years. Every nudge, every flicker of dissatisfaction, every dream or idea that kept resurfacing, they've all been breadcrumbs leading you here. But this is where many people stumble. They sense that change is near, but they try to control how it unfolds. They want to schedule it, plan it, make it tidy and convenient, like planning a trip or switching jobs. But transformation doesn't work on human timetables. It has its own intelligence, its own rhythm. Your role isn't to control it, but to recognize it, trust it, and step aside so it can move through you. And that awareness, that recognition, is what this message is about. Because once you see what's actually happening, once you realize you're not broken or losing it, but in fact upgrading into a completely new operating system, everything changes. Suddenly the restlessness makes sense. Suddenly the feeling of no longer fitting into your old life stops being a problem, and becomes proof that, yeah, you're right on schedule. The discomfort you've been feeling, that's not an error. That's the design. It's meant to keep you from retreating into what's familiar, but no longer true for you. And those fleeting moments of clarity you've had, those previews of the person you're becoming, they're not teasing you. They're your future self reaching back, assuring you that this is real, and it's absolutely worth the temporary uncertainty. But here's the difference. Understanding this in your head isn't the same as living it in your bones, because these transitions follow a natural sequence, a progression of stages every soul moves through when evolving into a higher state of awareness. Knowing these stages changes everything. Instead of feeling lost, you realize exactly where you are in the journey and what's coming next. The first stage is the stirring. It begins with a vague itch, a sense that something has to change, even if you can't name it. Life still looks fine from the outside. You're handling responsibilities, maybe even succeeding, but inside, there's this widening gap between who you are and how you're living. The stirring triggers questions you never used to ask. Why am I doing this job? Why do I spend time with these people? Why do I live here? Not because something's wrong, but because habit no longer feels like a good enough reason. Then comes the cracking. Pressure builds, and your old identity begins to fracture. Things that once worked stop working. Relationships strain. Old goals lose their spark. This is where people usually panic, because from the outside, it looks like collapse. Conversations feel shallow, distractions don't soothe you anymore, and emotions surface without warning. But the truth? Your old operating system can't handle your new consciousness. The cracks aren't destruction, they're openings. They're how the new gets in. Next is the void. This is the liminal space between the old self and the emerging self. The old anchors are gone, but the new hasn't solidified. It feels like free-floating with no direction. Here, your ego screams the loudest, warning you to retreat, insisting you're making a mistake. But the void isn't empty. It's fertile. It's the dark soil where new life germinates. Like the silence between lightning and thunder, something powerful has already begun, even if you can't see it yet. Then comes emergence. The outlines of your new self begin to show. Clarity arrives in fragments. New interests spark. New people enter. New energy flows. You may feel breakthroughs followed by what looks like regression. But it's not regression. It's integration. You're learning how to consistently embody the new frequency you've tapped into. Finally, there's embodiment. The new you is no longer something you're striving for. It's who you are. Transformation moves from effort to expression. Life feels easier, not because challenges vanish, but because you're no longer fighting yourself. Growth happens naturally through you. You become the vessel through which your authentic essence flows. But don't mistake this for a neat, linear path. These stages overlap. They repeat. They spiral deeper. And that's the beauty of it. Once you know where you are, you stop resisting and start collaborating with the process. The stirring teaches trust in your intuition. The cracking shows you endings are beginnings. The void reveals that not knowing is its own wisdom. Emergence helps you follow the signals of authenticity. Embodiment teaches the ease of living in full alignment. Wherever you are right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Nothing is broken. Nothing is late. Nothing needs forcing. Your only role is to stay awake, stay present, and trust that the process knows more than your logical mind ever could. So, if you felt yourself nodding along as you listen, if deep inside something is whispering yes, then you already know the truth. You're not imagining it. You're not lost. You're right on time. This restlessness, this feeling that something big is near, it's your future self calling you forward. And here's the beauty of understanding this. When you stop resisting and start allowing, the whole journey becomes lighter. The challenges don't disappear, but the extra weight of thinking something's wrong does. The stage you're in now is preparing you for someone you can't yet fully picture, but that version of you is already waiting, sending you signals and synchronicities, guiding you toward alignment. So trust the unfolding. Trust the timing. Trust that what's coming through you is worth every ounce of uncertainty you're feeling now. Because on the other side isn't just a new you, it's the truest you. And the next stage, it's closer than you think.